Happy Sunday and welcome everyone to episode 61 of Video Game Club, a very special episode. As always, I am your host, Tyler, and I have with me today the man, the myth, the legend, Austin.
Hello.
Hello, Austin. And it would not be a Video Game Club episode without the wonderful and amazing Mox.
Oh, thank you. That was nice.
And special returning guest from behind the editing booth, Andron.
Hey.
Hey. It's a nice to have you here.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's been a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're the guests. And like, I don't know. He's the one that does like everything.
That's true. That's a good point. It's Andron's like, it's his whole like thing, and we're just like his little guests in it.
We're just living
Yeah.
Yeah. So this episode is going to be very special because we're not going to talk about a single game like we usually do. We're just going to have a casual conversation about the highlights, lowlights of the year. But before we get started, was there a game that you played this year that we didn't play for Video Game Club that people should check out? Andron.
Sure. So this year, bear with me, I have my notes. Just got to pull them over. This year, I'm pretty sure I was going to recommend, what was it? I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to do that one because that Baldur's Gate's always one. But yeah, Elden Ring kind of took over my world for a while. I know it won Game of the Year. I know it's media. It's love child right now, whatever you want to call it, but it's well deserved. Like, even if you are not into Souls games, you can do it 4-player and like beat people up. So I mean that's a game in a game in a game in a game. It's pretty good.
And that's valid because like Undertale got that kind of hype, and then like me and Tyler didn't play it for years after. And it was like, oh yeah, we probably should have done that. So if you haven't, if you've been sitting out, yeah, Elden Ring's really good.
Yeah, you should totally check out Elden Ring. Did you play most of it co-op, Andron, or did you like?
So I kind of was trying to get me and my girlfriend played it together. So she would be on one screen, I'd be on the other, and so we kind of would jump in each other's worlds, get invaded, get angry, jump in each other's worlds again, and then like try to fight some of the bosses. I did most of it solo, but I would bring her in if she wanted like experience or something, or some loot, or just wanted to run around. But I did hop in hers quite a bit to kill some things for her. I played pure mage, so it's just like in the background, and she was like, "Okay, thanks." But yeah, it was pretty fun.
Very cool. Mox, what about you? Was there something that you played this year that stuck out?
I nominated it and it didn't win, and I can't remember if it was 13 or 14, but I think it was 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which was really good, and it was like a very self-contained game. It had a great story, it had great gameplay, and it had like 3 different it was really just like 2 modes you can play in, and you had to play both, and both were really fun.
That's the one with the giant mechs, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of teenagers. It was amazing.
Yeah. I've heard good things.
Was that like a sequel or like a remake? I can't remember the story behind why it was on the Switch and people were excited.
I have no idea. It seemed like it was its own thing.
It came out
I don't know.
Initially on PlayStation, though. I know it was like an exclusive there for a bit.
Makes sense.
It was so good.
Austin, what about you? Anything?
Yeah, I've got a few. So the Cuphead DLC, it's not a full game, but like it was just, it was great. If you enjoyed Cuphead, then definitely play the DLC because man, it's just really good. Ghostwire Tokyo, when that was coming out, I was kind of like, I'm not gonna buy that game. And then right when it came out, I saw a few things on it. I was like, Tyler, I kind of want to buy Ghostwire Tokyo. And we both were like, that's stupid. And then we ended up both picking it up, and it was a blast. So
I think when it was on like at $40 or something, we picked it up.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It's because for some reason Bethesda games, if you wait like a month, they go almost to like half price pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then so if that was not on your radar, take a little bit of a closer look because you might enjoy that one. And then I I don't know if I would have picked this up if Tyler had not bought it for me, but Vampire Survivors. I was just on paper it sounds really dumb, but playing through it, it's just like, oh my god, yeah, this is really like it's been a lot of fun. I actually broke my hand a couple of weeks ago, so I was looking for games I could play with one hand, and that was perfect for it. So I hadn't picked it up in a few months, and they've added a ton of content, and it's just been fun to pick up again. But
and they have DLC on the way too.
It came out a couple of days ago.
Oh, really? Oh,
Nice.
Shoot. All right, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
Did you pick that up? Did you pick that up one-handed on my recommendation, or was that like a game that came to your head right away? Like, oh yeah, Vampire Survivor.
I think it was like barely in the back of my head. Like I had thought about it, and then you said it. I was like, yeah, I really should do that. So,
so I'm definitely. Let's see, I have a few as well. So I haven't finished it yet, but Sonic Frontiers, I do recommend everyone checking it out if you can. I've had a lot of fun with it. I was on a trip recently for work, and I bought and finished a little game called Assemble with Care, and that was a really good time. It's a game where you take items and you take them apart, and then you fix them, and then you put them back together. It has a really good soundtrack and a really nice, just like wholesome, heartwarming story. And I think it took maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours to beat it all. And I played it all on my Steam Deck too. So
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, Mox, I would definitely recommend you check that out. I think
It
you
sounds
would really
like a cute
it.
game, which is just up my alley.
Yeah. And then I've said it a million times, but Sable, it's free.
I just is it free? I just got a notification. $0.
Yeah, it's free on Epic Game Store right now. Please check it out. It's very good. Has almost no combat in it, but it's just all about exploring and solving little puzzles, and it's just really fun.
It's awesome. Have you had a Sonic Frontiers stable? And what I mean by that is like most of the Sonic games you go flying through the map. Is it more stable than that, or how do you feel like technical wise?
So in the open world, you still run into some of that, but it hasn't been that frustrating. In the open world, the Sonic, they have these like specific like 3D Sonic levels, like very traditional like Sonic Adventure 2 levels. Those have been great. Like there hasn't been any like issues at all. And sometimes they're 2D or like 2.5D or whatever. Those have been wonderful. Like no issues, nothing, just awesome. Amazing. The open world has like some little things here and there, but the game as a whole, I feel like is just really, really awesome, especially the boss battles. Like once you hit the first one and the music that plays, and they've been very different so far. It's really cool.
Awesome. Okay.
Highly recommend. Yeah.
I'll have to wait for it to go on sale.
Oh yeah. So as I mentioned before, this is Video Game Club, where every 2 weeks we discuss a game voted on by our wonderful friends in the Bombchu Discord and discuss that game right here. Except we're not doing that this time. But if you can't catch us live and want to hear it later, don't worry. You can find it on YouTube, all major podcast services, etc. If you appreciate what you're hearing, please consider subscribing, rating, all those fun things. Okay, 2022 Video Game Club. I'm going to list every game that we've played, which is 20 games.
Wow.
One of them's like a little bit of a cheat because we started it the year before, but we talked about it in the new year. So
I mean, we're playing Scarlet Nexus mostly this year. We're not including that in the list. I think, it balances
It's
out.
fair.
yeah, it works itself out in the end.
Rollover game.
Death Stranding, A Hat in Time, Doom 2016, Assassin's Creed. I just regret picking that. Oh, sorry. Okay. One Shot, Paper Mario, Inscription, Toho Luna Nights, Psychonauts, Amori, Ni no Kuni, the first one, Wrath of the White Witch, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Grow, Song of the Evertree, Life is Strange, Shadow of the Colossus, Spiritfarer, Catherine, the classic version, Dead Space 2, Beacon Pines, and Star Fox 2. So, all those games, I'm going to go to you first, Austin. What was your favorite game that we played this year? Or
Toho Luna
games?
Nights was my favorite game that we played this year.
Whoa! Okay.
Yeah.
Explain.
So, when I look back, it was just like, I just had such a wonderful time playing it that it was just, from start to finish, very fun. It wasn't very long, but that meant there was also no fluff. And I've been like a few times already this past month. I'm like, maybe I should play that again, or maybe I should pick up like that company did a follow-up game. It's from a different license, but might try to stuff that into a pick next year. But yeah, I just had a really great time playing it, and that's like one of those. Like I talked about this with Fez, but it's one of those games where like when you say video game and you picture in your head like playing a video game, like that's the kind of thing that I picture in my head. Like that's a quintessential video game. So I just had a real blast playing that.
Was that one that you like played a little bit of before we picked it, or was it your first time?
No, I picked it up for that. Like we did the vote, and then I bought it just for that. So
wow, very cool. Mox, what about you? What was your favorite game that we played this year?
It's hard because I really enjoyed Omori, but I purchased Inscription on Steam so I could play it on my Steam Deck, and I like playing it again. And so I guess I'll have to pick that one, even though they were both so good. But Inscription, I just really like card, game, like, was it deck builder like that? But it also had so many fun, like, different ways to play the deck builder all within its own game. And the game, I just love the meta kind of game that it had, and also the story was really interesting. There's like nothing wrong with that game I can think of.
Yeah, and Omori would be your second pick if you pick two.
Yes, because I would like to play Omori again, but also I'm like I don't need to. Whereas I had to play Inscription again, so at least based on replayability or how much I enjoy just playing the game, I would have to go with Inscription over Omori. But gosh, if I had to say like I could never play one of these games again, I would be really sad about Omori because I want to experience the story again.
Yeah.
And that music. Yeah. Oof.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that too.
Mori's something special. Andron, what about you? I know you haven't participated necessarily, but you've heard us talk about all of them. You've seen gameplay of all of them. And I know you play a lot of games.
Few of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, I actually have the same game as Mox, Inscription. It's also, spoilers, but it's also the surprise hit. I doubled up on that. So it definitely... when I look for games now, like I kind of have played so many at this point, it's I'm looking for something unique that I haven't done before, right? Because I've done collectathons via Ubisoft and every single one of their games. I've done action adventure, I've done FPS, but Inscription, the like games don't usually surprise me anymore, but Inscription does. You know what I'm saying? It was very surprising to hear you guys talk about it. It was even surprising to see it play out at the same time. So definitely unique and interesting, and I love card games. So Magic the Gathering, games like that I'm all into. So this is right up my alley.
I have two follow-ups. Did you play Casey's Mod yet?
No, I did not play that.
It's better than the regular game.
Oh, really? Okay.
Jeez, Mod.
I love it.
Extremely high praise.
I bought Inscription you have to play through the whole game to get to Casey's Mod. I guess you could, there's like a way you could cheat into it or whatever. No, Casey's Mod is amazing. It adds so much game to the game and also like challenge. It's awesome.
Okay. My second follow-up question, Andron, was have you played Slay the Spire? And what do you think about that?
I feel like I own it because of a Humble Bundle somewhere. I have not played it. But I'm interested in starting to do more of those games because there's so many. It's funny because I think Slay the Spire may have been the first type of that, and then suddenly there's 50 a year later. So
yeah,
definitely I'll try it out. Probably start with Slay the Spire, then maybe I'll try like a newer one, newer of those type of games.
You only need Slay the Spire. It's amazing.
Fair enough. I think Chris was addicted to that for a while too. I can't remember though.
You gotta get another run
pretty
in.
Fun.
Yeah, just another run. My favorite game that we played this year is also Inscription. Yep.
Wow.
I loved it so much. It actually made me branch out on my trip into Slay the Spire because I was like, I want a card game. I was like, I could do Inscription and Casey's Mod, but then I was like, but I've heard so many good things about Slay the Spire, and I started playing it. And so far, I haven't. Mox, you played a lot of Slay the Spire, right?
Yes.
I've made it through 2.5 dungeons so far, and I haven't died on my first run. Is that like Am I just getting
It's
lucky with
coming,
items,
don't
or is
worry.
that normal?
Well,
Is that-
you're expected to like beat it at any time, but also it's a lot of
Oh.
RNG. So there,
Okay.
like any run could easily die, and it's fine. And you get points is like the further you go. And so
Okay.
usually most people don't win. Like get what is it? They get to the spire in their in their first run. I mean, so good job for that. But also there's different characters, and you learn how each one plays as you play them. And really, it's kind of like a grind game. Like, go as fast as you can, as far as you can, and then start another one. Who cares?
Got it. I definitely want, I don't think there will ever be an Inscription 2 or anything, but if the developer just took the second part of that game and just made it its own thing, that would be lovely. I would love that and expand on that.
That's so funny. That was like my least favorite part, but that's funny.
I love that part. Love it. Okay. Mox, what was your least favorite game that we played this year?
Ugh, it's like so hard because I hated a lot of these games for different reasons. And I was thinking about it, and I'm still probably Shadow of the Colossus in that it frustrated me the most. And I hate being frustrated. The other games were games I just like didn't like for different reasons, but I could still like get through it. Shadow of the Colossus, it was just like, this is not fun. It is just hard, and I couldn't do it. And I'm sorry, because I know people love it.
And your main complaint, I think, was like the camera stuff, right?
Yes,
if I remember correctly.
And controls and the fact that you have like a grip gauge, and then it's very unforgiving, all that garbage.
Yeah. What about you, Andron?
Sure. My pick was actually Ni no Kuni. And it's for a reason you may not get, but basically, like, Austin and I think, tried to play it way longer, like maybe a decade ago at this point. And then we tried it multiple times, and I feel like every time we tried playing it, I started falling asleep. He started falling asleep. And even when I tried to do it recently, I like with partner, I was like, hey, let me go ahead and let's try this game out. Let me see if I can finish it. I started falling asleep. I was like, this game makes me want to go to sleep. So there's no reason to play it. And it's nothing against like the story. I love Ghibli, but it just didn't feel like it pushed enough into the darkness of most of the Ghibli movies. And it just was like, And then of course you have the Fairy King. So there's a lot to dislike. But the big thing is just like, it's a boring game to me, I guess at the end of the day. Like it puts me to sleep. Combat's not engaging. Story is like too calm, most of the time. And I was surprised it had an ending that was difficult, maybe. I'm not too sure about that ending either. So
wait, I have a question. Did you play 2? And if so, what did you think about it? 2
is actually really good. I only stopped it because I got lost in the city building, and I did that for 20 hours straight. And I was like, oh, I was supposed to be playing a game, and then I didn't go back to it. So, that city builder got me. It took a while, but it's a lot better than 1. At least there's something to do.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ni no Kuni 1 especially has that like crazy difficulty spike. Like I think me and Austin, and then we got you in on it, Mox. Like we were struggling to make a good party to. Like, we were just getting stomped.
Well, it's like your party is valid, whatever you're doing for up to a certain point in the game. They're like, well, what you've been doing is wrong now.
Yeah.
And so just rebuild completely. And rebuilding is hard, because whatever you're swapping into your party is level 1 and, like, can't do anything. So, it's rough.
I guess I cheated in that I was struggling early on, so I looked up what's the party, and they said, here it is. And so I had been building to it most of the game and did not experience that same difficulty, but it still sucked for the same reasons.
You remember that massive dinosaur type guy though?
Yeah.
That dude was nuts. That guy was crazy strong. Austin, what about you? Least favorite game we played?
I will give honorable mention to Ni no Kuni and Life is Strange. But my least favorite by far was Assassin's Creed.
Gameplay.
I really hated it when I played it a few years ago, and I really hated it this time. I was like, I'm so glad when I uninstalled this, I never have to play it again. And then it came up for a vote, and I was like, no, there's no way it can win the vote. And it won the vote, and I was furious because I had to record the gameplay. And I hate the first Assassin's Creed so much. It's so bad, and it makes me so mad. But yeah, Ni no Kuni, also for every reason that y'all already listed, plus the story was really terrible. Like it had a good setup, and then it didn't go anywhere because it was just like, who's our audience? Adults or kids? Why not? Why don't we make it terrible for both?
Right.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And then Life is Strange, because truly, by the end, none of your choices mattered, and all the characters were stupid. And
The final, well, I guess
Nope.
no choice in any game can ever be undo everything. That can never be a choice. Never again. Not allowed.
Not allowed.
Not allowed.
Banned. Perma-banned. My least favorite game that we played this year. Well, my honorable mention is definitely Assassin's Creed, because I listen to that episode on occasion just because it's so ridiculous. Like, oh, then you can walk over here and spy on people. Oh, then you can, then you can walk over here and pickpocket somebody. And like, it's just so bad. And the collectibles, and then also I was playing on Xbox and I got like a glitched achievement. I was very, very angry about that. But I'm not. I thought Life is Strange was fine. For me, I wasn't a big fan of Grow. It's the only game I didn't fully complete all the way. And I don't know. I could not get hooked into the grind, into like the game loop. And usually, I love games like that. Like any game where you like have to go somewhere, collect some materials, build up a little city, and you get like some perks from there as well. But I don't know, something about that one, I just couldn't really get into it.
Did you enjoy like part of what you played, or was it just like, I've gotten everything I can out of the game and I don't need to do this another three or four times to get the last of the islands?
Yeah, that is exactly how I felt. Okay. I felt like I know where this game is going, and that was kind of that.
I've had my fun.
Yeah.
And not to, again, anticipate what the next question will be, but I was expecting it to be also, what is your surprise, like, fall flat game that you really wanted to like, but then was, found that you hated? And that was, for me, Grow. I just wanted it to be so much better than it was, and it really did fall flat, which was so sad.
Because on paper, that is a game I think all of us should have loved.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
did you dip your toe in Grow at all, Andron?
No. I was looking at it quite a bit. I've been thinking about still picking it up on the Switch, but I've been holding off because
don't get the Switch version.
Don't get the Switch version. Okay,
really
I'll
bad.
find a way to get it on something. But I still like the art style, so I think I may pick it up just to see how that goes. But on sale.
Because Mox, you played it on Switch, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Mox was having issues where like anytime you pull up the map, it like does it in 3D. It's not like a little texture map that you pull up. So it has to fully load like the whole map, which takes a long time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And that doesn't give you any indication that it's loading. And you want to look at the map so that you can tell where you're going. There's no other way to do that other than loading a 30-second, 60-second map. Oh.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wow.
Austin, did you have any surprise hits from this year? Like, speaking of what Mox was talking about. Yeah, go for it.
Omori. Like, I knew it was overwhelmingly positive, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, I'm going to mesh super well with the game. And even, like, while I was playing through it initially, I was like, there's stuff I like about it, but also, like, this game's kind of pissing me off. And by the end, I was blown away. Like, I keep thinking about that game like once a month, and then I just get chills. I'm just like, oh god. The soundtrack has stuck with me. The story has really stuck with me. Thinking back to like the colorful areas of each place, just like that was that game stuck with me a lot more than I thought it would. And I liked it a lot more at the end than I thought I was going to. That was quite a standout game for me. I don't think I'm ever going to forget about that game.
Wow. Mox, what about you? You said your surprise failure, but what about your surprise hit?
Well, I knew I would like Inscription, but I didn't know I would like it that much. But skipping that one to talk about something else. Beacon Pines, I thought it would be an okay game, and it'd be like just something to play quick through. But my gosh, I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did, and also have so many opinions about how it could have been better. And I'm glad that we played it, and I wish more people would. Yep,
totally agree. Andron, what about you?
Sure. I actually said it earlier. It was still Inscription.
Okay.
So kind of had a double on that one.
Gotcha. Makes sense. My honorable mention would have to be Amori for sure. Like, I also didn't think I would jive with that game, and like Austin, it's really stuck with me. And I don't know, it's something like I listen to the music a lot. I just like the overall like just look of it, everything. It's just really nice. And that story is quite impressive. But similar to Mox, Beacon Pines for me as well was my like surprise hit, because I hate games like that usually. Like, I absolutely hate them. And I loved Beacon Pines. I thought it was so lovely, and I really hope more people play Beacon Pines.
Did the woodland animals bring you any % of this charm, or was it purely everything else?
No, I honestly think it was like how the story unfolded and how you played it and how you didn't feel this like remorse when picking choices and how you could go back, and it definitely wasn't the story specifically, because like, I mean, we talked about in the episode, like the end was kind of, you know, meh.
The structure was just really, really well done.
Could have been better, yeah. But the structure of that game was just really great.
Yeah.
And the sections felt not too long. Like, it was like perfect, like got your bit out of it. It was really nice. Andron, so we vote on games, and we've done this for a couple years now. What's some games that you're hoping maybe get picked for next year, or maybe like a specific like console generation that we should dive into, or genre? I don't know.
Sure.
What do you think?
The thing is, you guys only have 2 weeks to play a lot of these, so it's kind of tough to say, hey, play this really long game that is very engrossing. I do think like one game I mostly like to see you do, which I bet you'll never do, is Grandia 2. It's like my favorite game of all time. I was replaying it recently, and I was like, you know what? This game's pretty solid. Like, it has a story, it has whatever, but it's still like 50 hours. So it's definitely a longer game. Road 96, I think I talked about last year. I'm saying it again just because I do think you guys will get a kick out of it. There's a lot of really big branching choices, more than I thought last year when I reviewed it. But definitely, it's one of those games that, each of you could play it, and then each one of you may have a different experience depending on, how many times you go through the routes. You know what I'm saying? So
even listening to like the soundtrack, every song is so different from each other that I'm just like, when you're saying that, I'm like, oh, the branching paths have to be like so wildly separate to have that kind of wide-ranging soundtrack.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, the music on that was like it was like third country, a third like some crazy like synth stuff.
Yeah.
And like a third something else. It was wild.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that game. And I think it would definitely be a nice one to store narratives, because it's like, well, this is what I experienced, but you experienced this. Like, what the heck? Just kind of an interesting one. Mm-hmm. Those are my two, though.
Gotcha. What about you, Mox? Anything?
Well, I really would love for us to play more DS games, because, gosh, there's just so many good DS games. But then I fell out of it, but I'm going to get back into it. We got to play Chibi Robo at some point. And Pocket
I
Card
thought we were
Jockey.
going to play it this year.
I know.
Pocket Card Jockey, yes.
I actually have no idea how most people would play that game if they don't have a DS. So that one I'm a little bit more unsure of. But Chibi Robo, we have to.
What happened to hashtag Chibi until we Robo?
I know, I got distracted. There were a lot of other games.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think Tales of Arise came out, and then she was done with it.
Oh, I love Tales of Arise too.
100-hour game.
I know.
What about you,
You can do that
Austin?
one in less. You can do it in less. Okay, sorry, keep going.
Oh, sorry, is it my turn?
Yeah.
I said this last year, and I failed. But more N64 games. There's, it's kind of underrepresented on the video game club timeline. We had Banjo-Tooie and Paper Mario, and neither of those were great experiences for anyone.
So
I'd like to bring out some of the better ones, like the mystical ninjas that we've had.
Paper Mario had its positive points.
Ugh.
Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might be time. Maybe this is the year we finally play the good Banjo game.
Ooh, that would be nice.
There you go.
I do feel like the music of Tooie is better than Kazooie, though.
Well,
If one thing.
We'll see. No.
But it'd also be good to get like some mystical, or not mystical ninja, mischief makers, Tetrasphere. There's a lot of great ones on N64. Kind of
Armorines.
See, I haven't played that one.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Or like Sin and Punishment, or well, that might be kind of rough, but
yeah,
there's lots of interesting stuff out there.
Didn't you play Sin and Punishment recently? Like within the past 2 years?
Within the last year or two, yeah. I played the first one and then Star Successor.
Yeah, we could do Win Back. Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah. I don't know if we do
cool.
the N64 or the PS2 version, but
yeah,
that's an interesting game.
I have like a huge gap in PlayStation 1 games, just in general, like just anything that was on PS1, because I didn't have one. I didn't play a lot of it, so I think more PlayStation 1 era type games would be cool, which kind of aligns with 64 as well. We haven't done much like Super Nintendo and not much like portable stuff like Game Boy Color. I know it's like a bit more difficult to do those, but and they're varying in lengths, and there's different like indie like
just gonna happen, man.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
It needs to happen. It needs to happen. Okay, so has there anything that initially you were like, I don't really like this, and looking back now, you're like, okay, it was okay, or something that you really liked at the time, and now looking back, you're like, why did I like that? That game was awful. I'll give an example. For me, looking back on Famicom Detective Club, I know Austin's going to cringe, but I do want to play the other one of that, and I initially was like, I don't really like this, and the more I've just thought about it, the more I'm like, I don't know, maybe I should revisit
You're
that.
forgetting all the details of what you hate.
Am I? Maybe I am. Mox, do you have anything?
I wish that I look back on Spiritfarer, and I played it a lot when I first got it. But then it fell kind of flat towards the end, but I didn't necessarily hate it. But now I'm looking back and I'm like, I don't even like this game, I think. I want to like it. I don't want to not like it. But there's something about it that I'm thinking about it, retrospectively, and I'm like, man, it's just like, it wasn't that great. And I feel bad almost for feeling that way.
I have two ideas what it could be. It could be that you're starting to remember how awful some of the mini games were, because they were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, like when that game first came out, they didn't have like the content of the hospital characters and that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like maybe some of those characters bloated the ending a bit.
I really did not like the one character who had you go through a lot of like fever dream episodes. That was like probably the one time in all of these games that I skipped dialogue because I was tired of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I get a little angry because for some reason my "is there any deal" will tell me about deals even though I already have it, and I get angry when I see Spiritfarer my deals. Like, I don't want to play that game again.
Was there anything that you didn't like that you're interested in maybe like revisiting, or do you feel pretty confident?
I was looking at Toho Luna Nights. I was thinking, I told myself I wanted to play more of that, and then I didn't. But I'm thinking maybe I should try.
Yeah.
That's the only one, though.
Gotcha. What about you, Austin?
So I already mentioned Omori, like that kind of grew on me over time, especially after having kind of gotten some distance from it. Like, I've grown even more fond of it. But Catherine Classic, when we played it, I think we were all kind of just like, ugh, we made it. But since then, like, I still sometimes have dreams about the block puzzles in there. And
wow.
Does this bring you joy or anger?
They're actually like, when I got to the point where I was able, like, the last few levels of the game, when it was just like, you're not really learning new techniques. It's just kind of like doing everything you've learned at once.
Mm-hmm.
The puzzles got very satisfying, and when I have dreams about them, it's just like that kind of stuff where it's like,
oh my god,
it feels really good to pull off certain techniques that are not intuitive, There's something about it that's just like, okay, I think I get why this has persisted so long in the gaming culture.
Would you replay classic or pick up full body if you did go back?
That's a good question.
I guess I would try full body because it seems like the puzzle parts themselves still work pretty much the same. It would be nice to have the story parts be a bit modernized, and it seems like there's kind of more freedom of choice there. I'd be willing to try full body. Yeah, I think I would spend more time on the like arcade game that they have in the bar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
The Save the Princess or something
thing.
like that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Very cool. What about you, Andron? Anything?
Sure. So Dead Space 2, I had like a really good nostalgic remembrance, but when you started talking about it, I was like, yeah, that does sound pretty crappy. So maybe I should check it out again and just see like if I still have that experience. There's not a lot of games that I can look back on and be like, oh, that was pretty fun, but that was one of them. And then I was like, I have not played that more than once. So more than likely, I think that's one I may pull out of my library and test through and see, if I have the same crappy experience.
Why?
as you guys.
Don't do it. You'll mar your experience of it like we flew too close to the sun with Banjo-Tooie.
That's A-okay. I'm cool with getting the reality of it.
Have you played Dead Space 1 recently, Andron?
No, but I watched you guys. Obviously, had to watch you guys do it. So,
You were forced.
So it still looked very. And the thing is, like, from my point of view, like they both look very similar. But I know what you were saying because I remember the story does go like off the rails in 2, and I think that's because all the the animated stuff they did in between and like the tie-ins and crap they're trying to do, the comic books, and that's part of why I was like, you guys already watched all the other media, right? So here we go. It's like, I don't know anything about that because this is 10 years later, however long it's been.
I'm still mad about that. It had so much promise, and it could have gone the way of Mass Effect and the Reapers, and instead it just like made no sense.
Sure could have. Also, it's amazing that they didn't make a third game, after that. God.
Where could they go? Like they have to have
Where they were
Isaac
gonna
in it
go was
again.
going to be really interesting, but
But then they decided to be terrible.
They decided not to make a game.
Thank goodness.
Yep.
Andron, did you have anything that you didn't look that interesting that you were like, well, I might check this out now? Like when you initially watched the video?
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to think through all the games. Oh wait, I have them. Haha, smart boy. Death Stranding, I guess, was one that I've been avoiding for a long, long time, just because the word walking simulator has a negative connotation. But I'm hearing now it's not so much that. So it's like, well, maybe I will dive into it, and maybe I'm too late. Maybe the community's dead, so I won't have like the same experience.
No.
We're still going, okay. So definitely that's one that has piqued my interest quite a bit. I think I own it, but I also own like 300 other games I need to finish. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's higher on my list now than it was before.
Are you a big Kojima fan? Like,
oh yeah,
typically.
Okay.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I'm a Kojima fan, and this does not spark the same joy as Metal Gear Solid. I mean, I just love the like triple agent betrayals that are in Metal Gear Solid 3. I go for that. This
Spoilers.
game did not pique that same interest. It's barely a Kojima game.
I feel like it is though, because if you like really go back and think about the like Lolly Lolu and all that stuff, like a lot of the plots didn't make any damn sense in Metal Gear Solid.
Yes, they do if you read all of the lore.
Sure, but like literally as you're playing it though, they're bringing up concepts and like real military stuff, and it's just like okay, I'm gonna shoot that guy. I'm gonna knock out that guy. And we're gonna keep going. It also has a vampire in the game series, so it's very much
voiced by Phil Lamar.
Yeah, it's a very like Kojima like is good, but like his stories do get just craziness after a while. So
I do like he strives to have the tiniest thread of plausibility, with like a lot of explanation. Whereas Death Stranding, I just was like, there's nothing here that has that thread,
I could feel that, like, not really based in reality because it's future possible tech, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Did you play Phantom Pain, Mox?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I think Kojima has changed a lot since Metal Gear Solid 3.
Well, I
From
guess
what?
I played 4.
Like-
4 was good too.
Okay, you might like 5 then. Maybe you should
I
try
don't
5.
know. I'm like, oh gosh, if it was anything like Death Stranding, I won't like it as much.
Mhm.
5 is a lot more grounded.
Maybe Death Stranding 2 will be a game for you to check out, Mox. You never
Can't
know.
believe they're making Death Stranding 2.
I can't believe
I
that
thought they were
either.
done.
I didn't know.
Yeah, but what a good time to get in now, Andron. They got the sequel's going to be here eventually, 4 or 5 years. You'd be
Fair.
What's the name of the actor who was all in Death Stranding? Is he coming back? I really
Norman
don't like
Reedus.
him.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he's coming back.
Norman Fetus.
Oh my God.
Norman Fetus.
He ruined the game for me.
Is that an original joke, Austin?
No. It's
Oh
not.
gosh, that's
Nothing
hilarious.
Oh, you should have claimed it. Should be like, it's mine.
So 2023, it's gonna be here pretty soon. Kind of crazy. Oh, I forgot to say mine. It's Amori. I don't know why I need to even say that, but it's Amori, and I didn't really have one that I want to like
Shit on post haste.
yeah, post haste, yeah, no,
Post hoc.
yeah, post hoc, yeah. Okay, so 2023. It's supposedly we're gonna get some pretty big games. Dead Space remakes coming out. Tears or Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know if they've said it like which one it is yet, but the new Zelda game's coming out. New Jedi Fallen Survivors coming out. We played obviously a lot of us have played Breath of the Wild, but we played for Video Game Club. We played the original Dead Space already. We played Jedi Fallen Order a couple years ago. Is there
Does
anything?
Tears of the Kingdom count as coming out next year if we all know it's going to be delayed to 2026?
Which one? What game?
The new
Breath of the Wild
Zelda.
2.
Oh,
Yeah. But I'm curious, like, are there any of these that you feel like would make really good, like, Video Game Club nominees, or anything that's on the horizon that you're like, ooh, when this comes out, I think it would be really cool to nominate it for a Video Game Club? Andron.
So I mean, there's a lot of games coming out, obviously.
Yep.
There was Judas and some others that I was really interested in. But if I had to say one, it's going to be Baldur's Gate 3, because I've already put in 200 hours. It's coming out next year.
You're kidding.
Yeah. And just the same first act. Excuse me. But yeah, you guys can play it all co-op and you get the same story. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome to do.
Did you play the Divinity games as well?
I played the second one, and I finally finished that earlier this year. And I had played like 300-400 hours before I finished it anyway. Those games are massive, though. So I mean, like, that'd be one you guys would start
That's crazy.
when it came out. Probably not review it till the next year.
Yeah.
Because it's insane. But I'm not necessarily a VGC nominee, just one I'm very interested in. And then of course Judas right after that. And the Zelda, but I'm less, I'm not going to get optimistic until I'm sure it's coming out, because that's my game, That's what the channel's named what it is.
Oh yeah. Mox, what about you? Anything coming out next year that you're interested in us checking out?
I'm not really one to like anticipate games coming out for the exact reason you guys are all saying. Dates are fake and releases are usually disappointing, never pre-order anything, etc. I would love if we could play the remake of Tales of Symphonia that's coming out, but I don't know how long it is as a game. But I didn't think it was longer, at least as a side quest, whatever game. But I just think it's like the quintessential Tales game, and now that they're remaking it, I just think I would love to share it with you guys.
This is the remaster of the GameCube game?
I think so.
I think they're doing the PS2 port, actually.
Oh, the PS2.
Yeah. For some reason, every time they remaster it, it's in 30 FPS, and the GameCube version was 60, and everyone's like, why?
Yeah, this one is confirmed locked at 30 as well. So
I
I don't know how they can't fix that. But yeah, like 30 hours max, 30 to 40 if you avoid all the side story stuff. Somehow.
Could do that.
You could
figure it out.
It's a good story.
Figure it out. What about you, Austin? Anything?
So I think Star Wars Jedi Survivor would be pretty fun, maybe once it goes on sale, because it's launching at $70. And that's
Okay.
Is
too
that
damn
the
high.
new starting price?
Yes.
That's becoming the
They're
new
trying to
starting
make it a
price,
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe when that goes on sale, that would be fun to do, because I mean, the first one had problems, but the combat was really fun, and I think overall we had a pretty good time playing it. Like a Dragon Ishin,
Ooh.
I think would be pretty good because you don't have to have the knowledge of like the main series, so it's kind of a good new entry point into and it's supposed to be really wild and very good. So I'm excited for that to come out. That might be a fun one to do.
Yeah.
So me.
I agree. Jedi Fallen Survivor would be really interesting to take a look at. I would like to do Dead Space Remake. It seems like it's going to be very different than the original.
Can't believe they're remaking that.
I also can't believe it, but I would like to play it. And then also Planet of Lana. We've seen like a few trailers for that. It looks interesting. I think it's one Mox would probably appreciate. And I don't know. That's kind of, and obviously New Zelda would be wonderful, but who knows what's going to happen.
Well, that's an 80-hour game.
Yeah, we'll squeeze it in.
Maybe even
Squeeze
longer.
it
What was Planet of Lana about? I guess I missed that.
Yeah, I've never heard of
Yeah,
It's
that.
like
that one.
It's like a 2D game. It's looks really, really beautiful, and it has some sort of like sci-fi element to it. It looks like a platform puzzler type. I don't know, kind of like a Gree or something like that.
Huh.
Gotcha.
I don't know. It just, I don't know, it has a really nice looking art style that's really caught my eye, so I want to check it out.
Awesome.
Okay. Christmas is coming up, the holidays. Some people are going to have some time off. Some people won't, but some people will. Typically, there's some downtime to play some games over the holiday. I would just like to announce to everybody here, I know people have been on the edge of their seat wanting to know. I will, Mox, yes, I will finish Ghostwire Tokyo finally, so I can stop talking about it. I will finish it over break. I almost played it before this. What?
Every time you tell us you've played it, I imagine you've played it like for 10 hours in a day across like, and then across like 4 days. So like 40 hours that you've played it. This is how I imagine it when you tell us you've played it. But it sounds like really what happens is you play it about an hour in the hour before we meet. And
Correct.
then it's like fresh in your mind, and then
Yes.
that's it. That's all you've played.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
That's insane to me. Why don't you sit and just play it?
I'm going to over holiday
No,
break.
but that's a question. Why? Why don't
There's
you?
lots of stuff to play.
I struggle. Me and Austin talked about this whenever we started Video Game Club. I really struggle to finish games. It's like a thing that, I don't know, I get too distracted by everything new coming out, and I have to, like, for example, I just got back from my trip, and I turned on my Xbox, and there was a bunch of like games from Game Pass and stuff like that I wanted to check out. So I just downloaded all of them, and I played each of them for like 15 to 45 minutes to see like which ones I would like and stuff. And then maybe I'll revisit, maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Do you like playing the game, or do you prefer to only play it an hour? Or is there something about it that you don't just play it for like 10 hours in a go on a weekend?
I like playing it. I just I don't know.
Most like
I'm gonna finish it, all right, and then I'm also going to finish Final Fantasy VII Remake. Having never played Final Fantasy VII all the way through, that game is still really fun, and I really, really like it. I know it's very different from Final Fantasy VII, but what I've experienced, I really, really love.
It's different? I don't know anything.
Yeah, the story beats are slightly different.
Yeah.
There's been some hints at bigger story changes in the rest of the trilogy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mox, anything that you're planning on playing over break? I also want an update from you on the newest Pokemon, Mox. Like, did you play it? What?
Yes, I'm playing it. I got to the normal gym. I can't remember the man's name at this moment, but it is literally a businessman who has a briefcase, and he's like, "Oh, you're here to fight me? Sorry, let me finish this meeting, and then I'll come and join you." And he is just the most boring person I've ever, like the most boring gym leader, and gym leaders are always like these crazy personalities. It's insane to me that
you could
they
almost
were like,
say he's normal.
Yes, I know. But like, there's a way to make it funny, and then there's a way to make it, oh gosh, this is awful. So anyway, I beat that guy.
The way you're describing it sounds pretty funny to me.
No, it wasn't. You would think. I was like waiting for it to be funny because of that reason, but it wasn't. They played it too straight. you have to have like a cheek about it, and they had no cheek, and I was very disappointed. But that is to say, I will return to it, but I'm angry at it for the moment. But now, having played Final Fantasy XIV 1,000 hours, of course. Stormblood, I guess it's technically the third expansion, but if you don't count the first one, it's like the second. It is entirely callbacks to Final Fantasy 12, which I'd never played. And 14 is the online version that, like, I don't know, took the place of 11. So 12.
No, there's still 11's still going.
Yes, I understand. Those people, though, I worry for them. Now,
don't worry for them. 11's
they're having fun.
So like 12 is very fresh in the minds of like the people who are hardcore fans of online Final Fantasy. But I never got into Final Fantasy really. Crystal Chronicles I did, and then nothing. And then I tried 13, I didn't like it, and then tried 15, and it was like okay. Anyway, so I wasn't like a big Final Fantasy person. But when you play 14 Stormblood, it's all like stuff they're like, oh, you get it? Nudge, nudge. And I'm like, don't get it. I don't get it at all. And there was one part of it that I did skip story because I was like, I don't get any of this. And it's all references to Final Fantasy 12. So.
Max, you skipped story?
I know. I was like,
who are you?
Like, oh, this person. And first of all, they're unvoiced cutscenes.
Okay.
Which is hard. And then also they were like, oh, this person, nudge, nudge, Final Fantasy 12. You love it. And I didn't love it. So anyway, Final Fantasy 12 is on the little PlayStation Plus fancy prescription, whatever thing. And I was like, I'm playing it. It's the Zodiac Age remade. I'm playing it, and I am playing it, and I love it. And I recommend everybody play it. So that's all I'm doing. All I'm doing is playing that, checking on my island in 14. Takes a couple minutes and then going back to 12.
Straight to 12. Nice. You said there was like a crash that was happening even in like the new version still?
So the new version lets you have 2 license boards. The original version let you only have 1. And it's like Zodiac, there are 6 characters. And so it makes sense you would have 2 license boards because then there's 12 jobs. So that each character can have 2 jobs of the 6. So everyone can have 1 of the Zodiac sign on their, so there's 2 of them. 12. Well, like if you are fighting something and you haven't saved in a little bit and you like, oh gosh, I want to put some license points on my character, and you open up your license board, usually in the middle of battle when there's a lot going on, the game will crash. And I think, and like all the people on GameFAQs posting in 2017 are like, oh, I think it's because the new version only has, like, it has 2 license boards, but they didn't update the code that it goes back to 1, and there's a crash, and it's just so sad. But now I'm just like, I refrain. I don't open my license board until I know I've saved recently. And I imagine this is how like regular people who didn't have the internet to look up what causes crashes like just dealt with things at some point. You just are like touching the game very gently and say, please don't crash, I'm okay. But anyway, it's still fun. I love it.
Are you still playing 14 on your Steam Deck mainly?
Yes. And I was sitting here at my computer, and I thought, oh, I'll open up 14 and check on my island real quick. And it was so big. I was not used to it because I've been playing it on my tiny little Steam Deck for so long. I was like, I couldn't do it. It was too big. I just love the Steam Deck so much.
Yeah. The real game of the year for 2022.
Yeah.
Well, and one last thing, you can do PlayStation Remote Play on the Steam Deck. So I can sit in my bed and play my PlayStation, which is down in the living room, on my Steam Deck. And it works pretty well.
Pretty cool. Andron, are you going to have some time to play some games over the holidays?
Relatively. I mean, like, people stop working, I'm still working. but like, as people stop doing stuff, I can kind of, find some time here and there. So yeah, I mean, I need to finish Mario and Rabbids, the new Sparks of Hope.
Oh, yeah.
So I need to finish up that game. It's pretty good. It's not quite XCOM anymore. It's more like Valkyria Chronicles, because you like move around and then you like position, then you shoot, and you do what you got to do. It's pretty fun, but yeah, it's definitely like a different pace. And then I'm of course playing more Baldur's Gate 3 because they just released patch 9. So I was doing one more playthrough before August to get it in.
Wow.
And then I guess I'll finish up God of War Ragnarok after that.
Are you a big Baldur's Gate fan, like in general? Like, did you play 2?
No, I never played 2. I never played 1 because they do that active pause system where basically they do like all the actions. You're like, okay, stop. Let me change this one few things. Okay, go ahead, and they just kind of fight by themselves.
Yeah.
And I hate not having like granular control in RPGs or like tactical games. Like if I'm not actively saying, okay, you attack this guy, you do that, like that kind of thing, it just feels weird to me. So yeah, not a big fan of those. I'm a big fan of Larian Studios, who did Divinity, of course, and they won me over back then. So absolutely.
I heard the new trailer that I think they dropped it at Game Awards. I'm pretty sure. I think it has like some callbacks to Baldur's Gate 2 or
yeah, they have a character named Minsk, I think is how you pronounce it, who basically has like this little he's a ranger, D&D ranger, of course, and his animal familiar is a little hamster named Boo. And so it's one of those famous things from Baldur's Gate 2. Then he became part of the mythos. He's on Magic the Gathering cards, like all kinds of stuff. So so they're adding him in because they have to deal. Wizards of the Coast is basically publishing it, I guess, and they're making it, so they have a deal they can put wherever the fuck they want. You know what I'm saying? So,
now wait, do you like Diablo? Well, not that anybody's anticipating Diablo 4, but I love Diablo 3. I've played millions of hours. What do you think of it?
Diablo's pretty fun. I mean, Austin's wife is really into it, and I played it for a while, but then what gets me usually is like having to redo the same thing like 50 times to get all the stuff. So I'm like, okay, I did it on
grind.
Chaos difficulty. I did it on this difficulty. Now I have to do it on Chaos plus 7. I'm like, all right, I'm good. I don't need to fight this guy anymore.
Do Nephilim riffs over and over and over until you don't.
It kills me inside. Like I could do one playthrough, maybe 2, and then I'm like, got it, and then I move on to something else.
Max, have you also Diablo 4 has previewed really well? I know. So
is it okay?
Oh yeah.
The stupid comment of like who doesn't have a mobile phone, soured a lot of people.
Yeah. Also, Mox, never play Path of Exile or Lost Ark. It sounds like those will take over your life.
You will be stuck.
I've tried PoE. I don't like it as much. I have not tried Lost Ark because it doesn't work on the Steam Deck.
Ooh,
I know.
I think that's one you might really appreciate. Yeah, and let us know because we know somebody who's crazy into it.
Ooh.
Is that what you plan on playing, Andron?
Sorry,
Baldur's
what was
Gate.
the question? Oh yeah, Baldur's Gate,
yeah.
And it's primarily it. Just get through one more playthrough, and then I won't touch it again until August. I swear.
Gotcha.
Not updating it again after that. So I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm good, and then I'll play the full release.
What about you, Austin?
So I'm slowly working through Scarlet Nexus for our next episode.
Okay, that goes without saying, Mr. Goody Two Shoes.
I mean, I could be like you and just like quit a couple hours in and not play it. I don't know.
Gosh,
I'm still playing it.
Well, like I don't have as much time because I'm also going to be taking care of a baby over Christmas break, and I have a broken hand. So
I heard those are easy babies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, baby's easy mode.
The
I got
Sims
tons
tells
of
me how
time.
to take care of
So
babies.
it's an asterisk of I won't have that much time to play other stuff, but
Sure.
I am going to be spending a lot of my free time working on Scarlet Nexus. But if I have other free time, still working through Yakuza 6. I'm on like chapter 4 of that.
He will finish.
Listen,
he will finish.
Mox, I don't have that much time.
No, it's not that. It's just that I don't think if you typed up the transcripts of every single episode of this whatever thing, if the word Yakuza was not mentioned at least once in every episode, I will eat a shoe.
We should get him as a sponsor.
I have played a lot of Yakuza games this year. Like I think I did 3 this year. I definitely did like 4 and 5 and Dead Souls this year.
Yeah.
So I've played a lot, and I'm like, I do all the sub stories and everything like that. So
you eat the whole game. You just eaten every little bit of it, including the binding, and then you're ravenous for the next one. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that with 5, but you know, it's
it is
too late
what it is.
Oh my God.
I like Tyler. I'm gonna try to finish up Final Fantasy VII Remake. I probably won't finish it, but I'll get at least closer. I think I'm in chapter 13 right now. Out of like, yeah, I'm getting closer, but I still have a ways to go. And then I'm hoping to keep working on Resident Evil 7, but we'll see. I reached the same point where I quit last time, and then I haven't been able to play for the last few weeks. So
oh no,
I really would like to just like make
pass.
sure I progress a little bit so I don't stop in the exact same place again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Are you like in Yakuza 6's combat? I'm curious if you think it's like the same or less samey. What do you think of it?
So it feels very similar to how it did in Kiwami 2 because they have the same engine. And it's very different from the rest of the series, like especially with the ragdoll effects and stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's not my favorite combat, at least not yet, but I've also been focusing my levels in like growth skills instead of like combat skills to kind of get a good base going.
Out the gym
I'm trying to 100% the achievements on this one.
Oh
So
my
like,
goodness.
I want to get everything.
Nice.
And which one of those is like get every skill. So it's like, okay, if I'm doing that, I may as well get the growth stuff first.
Makes sense.
But so I'm missing some stuff that I think some of my core skills that's been making combat a little frustrating. And then the ragdoll stuff is definitely like I have to get used to how I was playing in Kiwami 2, which most of the time when I play Yakuza games, like I don't favor using weapons.
What?
Like I know that's always an option, but I like to go hand to hand. And in Kiwami 2, I had to learn that you really were supposed to, like, that one was really pushing you to use weapons. Like, if you would pick stuff up off the ground, you could pocket it to use it later instead of having to, like, deal with, like, purchasing weapons and stuff like that and doing the whole upgrade path, because I just hate dealing with that. This one, I haven't found the ability to pocket stuff, but there's always stuff around, so I need to get more used to
picking it up and using it.
I think.
Yeah.
You said you didn't use weapons. My mind went to like diplomacy, but that isn't an option, I don't think, for the Yakuza.
No.
Sadly, no. Your Resident Evil comment reminded me that I want to play the Rose DLC too for Village that came out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
What is the subtitle for 7? I know 8 was Village, right?
7 was just 7.
I think it's just Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the 7 is hidden inside of that.
Lame.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of supposed to be like a reboot, but then they were like, also, it's a sequel.
Yeah. Classic Capcom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should be like a really... I'm excited for next year. Should be interesting. I mean, Persona's coming to like everything now. Persona 3 and 4 Golden. So that's exciting. Monster Hunter Rise is coming to everything. That's super exciting as well.
Yeah. That was a game.
Yep. Pretty cool.
We'll play a Shin Megami Tensei game one of these days.
Hey, I got 5 ready to go, Mox.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Well, that was a little dive in our take on this year of Video Game Club 2022. As always, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Just as a reminder, you can catch us here, twitch.tv/BombchuTV, usually every 2 weeks at 2 Eastern. The next stream will be on January 8th, though. And if you can't make the live session, don't worry. You can find the episode up on YouTube, all major podcast services. Thanks to Andron. So, before we leave, is there anything that anyone wants to plug? No. I will plug something. Please go play Sable. It's free on Epic Game Store. You can pick it up and play it. You have no excuses unless you hate the Epic Game Store. And if so, reach out to me in a DM and I will send you a copy of the game. And our next game, as a reminder, we've been talking about it a lot, but it's Scarlet Nexus. Austin, do you know?
It's pretty good.
Mox, do you know? Like, there's when you start the game, you can pick like it looks like a male and a female character. Seems like they each. Is their story combined 25, 30 hours, or is each story 25, 30 hours?
I thought
I think it's combined.
What? Really?
So I'm like halfway through Kasane's story, and I think I've played for 7 or 8 hours.
Okay.
I've already done most of like her brain grid or whatever, the upgrade path. Yeah. As far as I can tell, I think that's the combined, like, because the whole game is considered to be both campaigns. You're supposed to do both.
Got it.
Oh, the other hot tip, definitely do the Japanese voices. They're like 1,000% better than the English ones, sorry to say.
I'm still on the English voices, but they are really bad.
Have you played it, Andron, Scarlet Nexus?
Yeah, I have like 19 hours into it, apparently. I got another game that I got distracted by another game with.
Sounds about right.
Did you beat
Sounds about right.
one of the characters in those 19 hours?
No, I always turned up to... no, I think I was doing some side stuff, and I just keep doing side stuff. So like I got lost in hey, I can go level this thing up if I keep fighting these guys. So I just kept doing that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Pretty fun, though. I really enjoyed my time with it.
I'm looking forward to the discussion. Should be fun. Austin, thank
Mox,
you.
Are you playing it on your Steam Deck?
Yes, it's the only thing I ever do anything on these days.
Do you like put it in standby and then resume and keep playing?
No, I always save before I only ever play one game at a time, but I always save before I turn it off because I'm so worried it will not save it.
And you like exit the game fully?
No, I will like turn off, press off, and then it goes into standby. But and I haven't had a crash, but I always save before I do that.
Every time I put it in standby, when I come back, as soon as I enter combat, the game freezes, and I have to like restart the game.
I have never had that.
It's driving me insane. So
Wow.
I feel like I can't play it on my Steam Deck. But
no, it's
anyways.
flawless for me.
Okay,
Wow.
just me then.
Just an Austin thing.
It's all the Yakuza.
Gosh. Mox, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a wonderful year. 20 games. Can't believe it.
That's a lot of games.
Yeah. Austin, thank you. As always. I know you've had your baby this year. Broke your hand.
It's been a crazy year, man.
All kinds of stuff has happened. And yeah. And Andron, seriously, thank you so much. Not only for joining us on a whim, but doing all the behind the scenes stuff, putting the podcast up. Like there didn't used to be a podcast at all. The YouTube videos go up like really quickly. Everyone sounds great. Like, dude, seriously, thank you so much.
From our perspective, it's like it just happens. It's magic.
Yeah, that's exactly how it feels.
Hey, okay. Happy to do it and looking forward to 2023.
Oh, yeah. I'm Tyler, and this was Video Game Club, episode 61, a review of the year 2022. And we are out.